Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new episode of the Athletes Roundtable. This podcast is brought to you by Athletes Productions, the best place to find Iona highlight reels, podcasts, and much more. Today, we are joined by a very special guest,
Tobin Anderson.
All right, Coach Anderson, thank you so much for being on our podcast this week. If you could just introduce yourself, like your position, where you're from, anything like that would be great.
Tobin Anderson, I grew up in Iowa, so I've been in New York now for like the last 20 years, so I'm actually probably a native New Yorker. And I'm the head men's basketball coach here at Iona.
Now, where'd you go to college?
Went to Wesleyan.
Wesleyan, and you played basketball there, correct?
Yeah, I played basketball there. Division III school in Middletown, Connecticut.
How was playing basketball over there?
It was good. It was good. It was good for me. I went to prep school, and my prep school team was really good. We had 12 guys go to Division I, and for me, going to Wesleyan was a chance to play, to be a starter, to be a captain, to have a great guy. Scored 1,000 points. So had a good career at the Division III level. I was not probably good enough to play at the Division I level, so it was a good fit for me.
Now, how was the transition from going from player to a coach?
You know, I think when you're a guy like me who probably knew all along my playing career would be over when I was a college senior, I knew that it was time probably then to go be a coach. I had no illusions of playing overseas or being a professional player. So I knew once I was done with my last college game that I'd go into coaching. So it kind of worked out smooth for me. I didn't have to be shocked when that happened.
How was like the transition process from going from coaching from going to playing to then coaching?
Yeah, I mean, the good part is at that time you're the same age as most of the guys you're coaching, so it's kind of easy because you kind of fit in with them, and they like to hear from guys who are the same age, they've been through the same things they've been through. So actually, it was a pretty easy transition, to be honest with you. And it was when you're playing, you have more control, you have more invested as far not more invested, but more tangibly. You're on the floor, you're making plays, but you're coaching, you don't have quite as much control, so that part's a little bit harder.
Was there ever another career that you wanted?
I wanted to be a writer. That was kind of the thought process when I was younger. I love reading. I'm still a big book guy. I read all the time. Read articles. I read the papers. I used to be read every newspaper I could possibly put my hands on. Read a lot of books. So I'm a big writer. So I thought I'd be a writer at some point. And then if I couldn't do that, I'd be a pro fisherman. I love fishing, so maybe I thought I could be. But that's not going to happen. I'm not sure how you get into that at all. But if I could do one other thing, that's what I'd do. But I'd be a pro fisherman. But I'm not sure that's actually a realistic thing for me to do.
Do you have any plans like over the summer to go fishing?
Absolutely, I'm going in June. I can't wait. We got it all situated. I'm going to Canada. I'll be in the middle of somewhere up in 2 hours north of Winnipeg, and I'll be up there, and no one can reach me for a while. There'll be no Twitter, no cell phone access. I'm looking forward to it.
So now, going back to your decision to become a coach, at what point did you realize that like coaching is the way I'm going to go?
My dad was a high school coach, so I grew up in a coaching household. His whole life was coaching. I mean, he was a teacher as well. Your high school coach, you also teach. He taught math, he taught history, taught science. So I was in a gym my whole life. Or he's also a baseball coach. I was on a baseball diamond, on a baseball field, dragging the field around that all the time. So I saw him at practice. I saw him at games. I saw him with the players, interacting with those guys. So I knew, it's like most, you see your father do something, you kind of want to follow in those footsteps. And so I just loved being at practice, going to the games. I love the competitive fire to it. When you play, like if you're a competitive person, when you play, it's hard to just shut it off and not keep doing that. So to be a coach is kind of the next best thing. Like I love the feel of games and on game day, and you get butterflies and you're a little bit nervous and you're anxious to go play. So for me, it was something I always knew I wanted to be a coach. That was just kind of because of my dad. And like when you're around your father all the time, you're also around other coaches too, and you saw other programs and how they were run. And you had friends who were coaches and friends who played whose dads were coaches as well. So I was my whole background, my whole life. Like it was constantly, our life was based around practice, based around games. That was just what we did. So it was baseball, it was basketball, and it was just kind of the way it was.
So you were the D3 assistant at Wesleyan, and then
Clarkson.
I was at Clarkson first, yep.
And then D2 assistant at Lemoyne.
Lemoyne, yep, in Syracuse, yep.
And then D3 Clarkson head coach in 1999. How were you able to like build your way up the ladder?
Yeah, so it was great. So when I was at Clarkson, I was 23 years old, just out of college, and I went there to be an assistant. And there was two freshmen who were really good players, ended up being great players. And I forged a really strong bond with those guys, but especially those two freshmen. So I went to Lemoyne to be an assistant. That was actually a great move for me professionally, to go be an assistant at Division II level with Dave Paulson. Dave Paulson is the head coach of Holy Cross now. We're very good friends. So when I went to Lemoyne, that was a good step up for me. And then I was there for 2 years, and the Clarkson job came open again. Well, the two guys on the search committee were those two freshmen that I'd coached when I was an assistant, who were now all of a sudden they're going to be seniors. And they hadn't had a lot of success. They hadn't had a lot of wins. And so they wanted to go. They liked me. They felt it was they wanted a young guy with a lot of energy coming in there and help run the program. And I did a good job when I was there as an assistant. Even at 23 years old, I'd made sure to do all the things you need to do as far as just being the guy who does everything possible as a coach and meets the right people and is nice to people and just be yourself. And I'd forged a lot of great friendships. So I was able to go back to Clarkson and be the head coach. 3 years later, I was 27 years old. So I thought I had all the answers. I was going to be, I was going to go win a national title the first year. So, but it was a good move for me.
So moving from different colleges, becoming assistant coach, head coach, and then you continued on to become an assistant at Siena and many other opportunities. What were some things that you learned going from school to school?
Yeah, every school is different. So it's different from a standpoint of how the schools run, how the school, the campus feel to it. Like Clarkson was an engineering school. So those guys were all like big time math and science guys, and we had to recruit guys that were like that. And those guys are incredible students. They also have to they study a lot. Engineers do. Hamilton, more of a liberal arts school, kind of like Wesleyan, right? So it's more of a free thinking, more history, communications, things like that. All the stuff, writing, journalism, things like more just different avenues, right? So different kind of recruiting there. So every school's and the administration is different. The AD is different. The people you're around are different. Clarkson had a big hockey program, probably the best, historically the best Division I hockey in the country, college hockey. Hamilton had a great basketball tradition. Siena, great basketball tradition. So every school is different. You learn a little bit here and there. You meet people. For the most part, people who are involved in higher education and college life are great people. Because they're there for the students. They're there to make things better for them as far as not even just the athletes, but just the student body in general. So you meet great people. You're around great families, and you learn a little bit from each person. You make contacts. You meet the right people. And I still have incredible friends from all those places who I was tight with, and so I miss a lot of those people. You see them. You're there for a while, then you move on, and it's not always easy, but it's been quite a journey.
How has your style of basketball coaching changed, if at all, throughout your process of becoming different?
Well, I think you always tweak your style. Depends on the situation, depends on your players. So for the most part, my basis, my foundation for basketball was forged by my father and how his teams played. They always ran motion offense. So motion offense came from Bob Knight, came from Henry Iba. Henry Iba was a coach at the Olympic team back in the day, I think Oklahoma State. He's before my time, but I always heard about him. And then Bob Knight obviously was at Indiana for a long time, always ran motion offense. And so my dad was a big Bob Knight guy as far as the basketball stuff went. So we ran his offense. And so I learned that. I played in it. I was around it all the time. So motion offense to me was the way to play offensive basketball. Defense a little bit different. Like that changes more. We're a pressing team now. Actually got a lot of that pressing stuff from Coach Pitino. A lot of his Kentucky teams. He stopped pressing as much the last 10 or 12. He pressed a little bit more this year, obviously, but he pressed Kentucky all the time. So a lot of stuff came from him as well. And just everything you have, you tweak it a little bit. You have good assistant coaches. You have good people around you who bring you ideas. Now in today's day and age, you go on Twitter, you go on the internet, you can find all kinds of coaching stuff. And so I get clinics and things like that. I get little bits here and there, but for the most part, my dad, how he played, was a big part of how he played. My prep school coach Max Good is a good person as well. He was a big pressing guy too. So, his practice stuff was a lot from him too. But just being around so many great coaches. I was the 5-star basketball camp. I don't know if you guys have heard of the 5-star camp, but it's the best basketball camp in the history of basketball. It's just all the great players: Michael Jordan, Moses Malone, LeBron James. They all came through the camp. All the great coaches: Calipari, Pitino, Fratelli, Hubie Brown, all went through there as well. So I was there for like 12 or 15 summers, and I spent a lot of time there with around great coaches. Not just those names, but like high school coaches in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, the Midwest, Pennsylvania, New York City. A lot of great guys out of New York. And so not only did I form relationships, but I learned a ton from those great coaches. And there's a lot of really good. Bob Hurley was there, senior, who's a coach at St. Anthony's. So I learned a lot from those coaches. And you kind of just pick up things along the way and you kind of tweak things. And even like, how we played last year at FDU, we won't do the same things. We'll tweak a few things here or there based on our personnel.
So when you became coach for FDU, they improved from 4-22 to 21-5 in 10 months. How were you able to do that?
I don't know. That's a great question. There should be a book written about that. It's incredible. So it's a single biggest, tied with Towson State for the single biggest increase from one year to the next in Division I history of basketball.
Wow.
So beyond the Purdue win and beyond the 2 NCAA wins, all that kind of stuff, the biggest upset in history, that achievement right there, it goes from 4 wins to 21 wins, is pretty remarkable. I was able to, we were able to, I'm a big we guy, not an I guy, but we were able, because guys got to buy into it, right? So we brought some players from St. Thomas Aquinas. We brought 4 players, three players, 1 recruit who came with me, and then we brought some recruits in. And then the guys who stayed were very committed to change and the new process and making a difference as far as helping us get better. And so we did not, obviously you want to have that kind of improvement. You want to have that kind of success, but we definitely didn't think that was going to happen just naturally. I mean, it's one of those things that just kind of, the pieces fell into place and the chemistry fit. And sometimes people talk about chemistry and culture, and it's huge. A lot of times, just a little bit of luck too. I mean, the guys just fit together, and they played well together, and we had some ups and downs, a lot of adversity too. It wasn't a straight. We had some bad losses, some tough weeks, some tough games, and the guys had a lot of mental toughness, and they kind of hung in there, and we got better as the year went along, and played our best basketball at the end of the year. So I'm very proud of what we did in 10 months. And like I said, the players did most of that. They could have easily not bought into the culture and that kind of thing and the change, and they did, and so it ended up being a special year for us.
Going on to that Purdue game, obviously you've talked a lot about it, but how were you able to bring a team that lost in the conference championship by 1 point to eventually beating Purdue, possibly one of the biggest upsets in March Madness history?
Well, I wish you wouldn't bring up the conference championship losing by 1 point, because that still bothers me a lot. I still love the Purdue game, but I get mad about the Merrimack game because we were up by 6 with like 2 minutes to go. We should have won the game. I mean, we'd already beat them twice already, so it still irritates me a little bit that it didn't come to a win in that one. But we were in that first 4, so we were in that first preliminary game on Wednesday night, and we played great. And I think the loss motivated us a little bit, and our guys we were terrific. We won by 25 points, which is hard to do. 2 teams that are, I don't care, first 4 playing game, you still got 2 really good teams. We won by 25 points. That's hard to do. So we had a lot of momentum going into Purdue. And I think the style, our guards were better. I hate to say it, but they have two Big Ten guards who are freshmen who are going to be good players. But we had 2 fifth-year seniors who combined for 3,500 points. I think we had better guards. And in college basketball, having better guards, it makes a big difference. And so, we were better at certain positions. Our style, our pressing caused them problems. We really did a great job on Zach Edey, obviously. I mean, you walk out there, the guy's like, he's 7'4", and our biggest guy is 6'6". Man, it's a lot. It's a big difference. It's like, David and Goliath. Just figuratively, it's just a big man. And our guys did a great job. Like, we really did an unbelievable job, and we got confidence as the game went on. They lost confidence, and it was pretty special to see that whole arena go from being, for the most part, it was supposed to be a Purdue home game in the Midwest and close to their campus, and all of a sudden we took the whole arena over. The people were all chanting FDU, and it was just an unreal experience. Like, I mean, you can't, to replicate that again would be hard to do. We're going to try to do those kind of things here at Iona. We have those kind of wins here too. For a 16 seed to beat a 1 seed, to a 16 seed to win 2 NCAA games, pretty incredible. So it was a lot of fun.
So following those 2 wins, you now take over a spot that was once held by Rick Pitino. How do you follow and improve from him?
Yeah, well, and all respect to Coach Pitino. I've learned a lot from him. He's a 5-star basketball camp guy, like I just said. So I've got a lot of respect for him and his coaching. But he had to follow Tim Cluse, and Tim Cluse had to follow. I mean, there's Kevin Willard was here, and Jerry Welsh, and Tim Welsh, and Jeff Ruland, and I feel bad if I leave somebody out, like Jim Valvano. I mean, there's been so many coaches that have come through here. They've all been great coaches. I was up for the job 4 years ago when Pitino got the job, and I was like, man, I would not want to follow Tim Cluse. Like, Tim Cluse is not the guy you want to follow. I told my wife that when we were sitting on the couch saying, hey, there's a chance I get this job. Like, that guy's won like crazy, So I don't think who you follow is as important as what you're going to do, right? So we have a game plan. We have a way we're going to do things. I can't be Rick Pitino. I can't be Tim Cluse. We got to be who we are. We think we have a formula. We think we have a system, a structure to win big at Iona. We think the things are in place around us to have that happen. So we're going to do what we do ourselves and recruit how we recruit and coach how we coach, and not try to be somebody else that we're not. You'll see some similarities, obviously, with the especially the defense. We'll press like Pitino did last year. We'll go up and down the floor. His offense a little more stagnant, a little more half court, a little more grinded out at times. We'll be a little more free flowing, but there's little small differences. But he's a guy, Pitino, who loved to be in the gym. He was a gym rat. He's a guy who worked hard. That's the same kind of thing we'll do here. So yeah, I really honestly because if you start thinking about that, then you start thinking about all the guys before you. Like there's some big mountains out there to climb, but that's not what we're going to think about. The one thing, all those coaches that has been talked about have not won an NCAA game, and so at Iona, and that'd be something special if we could do that. Like do something that has not been done before. So obviously we want to continue to be a big time contender to the MAC, win MAC championships, go to the tournament. But if you could somehow get there and win a game or win 2 games, that'd be something new. That'd be something special. So there's some goals out there that have not been achieved here. Pitino didn't do any better than Tim Cluse did. Tim Cluse did an unbelievable job. So there's some things out there for us to do that have not been done. That's the goal, obviously, to do those kind of things. And it's going to be hard. When you're Iona, you've been the premier program in the MAC for quite a while. There's not a game that goes by that people are not excited to play you. Every team in the MAC has a bullseye on your back a little bit that you're going to be. There's some stupid thing on social media had us pick third in the MAC for next year. We don't have a team right now, So we're picked third. How would you pick us third? Unless I'm playing the point guard and Tom Bonicum's the 4-man and Pat Walsh, my other assistant's the 2 guard. We need some more players first. So, but Iona's always expected to be excellent. There's always there's an expectation of being very good every year, and so we know that. But people don't understand as a coach, like that's always your expectation. You're never thinking to yourself, well, let's just kind of ease into this, or let's just be okay this year. And no, we want to be good. You want to win every game. You want to go to the NCAAs every year. You want to go win the MAC every year. That's the goal, and that doesn't matter who's in my position.
As a coach, is there like a tweak in like your style if like now you have like a target on your back because everyone expects you to like win the MAC again? Is there like a change in how you coach?
That's a good question. I don't think it changed so much. It's just that your players got to be aware of that. There's not a night that that a team you're playing against will not be ready for you. So you've got to be prepared. And I think that comes from habits, from daily practice habits, from daily habits as far as you as a person, like doing the right things all the time and being prepared all the time and working hard all the time, so that when the games come, it's not a there's a Navy SEAL thing where it's like you don't rise to the occasion. That's your level. The whole I'm screwing this whole quote up. There's a good quote about but if you're at a high level all the time, there's no reason to rise to a level. You're already there. And so that's the idea, is like to practice every day with the idea that we're going to play championship basketball, and if you do it every day, the games come, it's nothing different at all. But the reality is people want to beat Iona, so we have to be ready.
So you were just talking about not having a team, which is obviously a major factor going into next season. Could you talk a little bit about the recruits, the commits, what the team is going to look like next year from what you know so far?
Yeah, and I just exaggerate a little bit. We have a team. We have the guys we have signed so far are all very good. So that part's great. We're recruiting our tails off. I told my wife I've not worked this hard since I was at Clarkson back when I was 27 years old. I called or wrote every person in the state of New York in about 2 weeks. So I'm on a Zoom or on a plane or in someone's home or someone's on campus pretty much every hour of the day. So I made a little time for you guys because I want to make sure I'm a part of the Iona community, obviously. But it's nonstop. I'll leave here. I'll go do a Zoom at 3:00. Kid flies in at 4:30. So we are working our tails off to get the right guys. We could field a team in the next 6 hours with guys who would come to Iona. We want to make sure that the kind of guys that we want to have here who are going to work hard, have great habits, who are competitive, want to play for something bigger than themselves, all the things we're looking for in players. So we're taking our time. We're being patient. We are recruiting the right kind of guys. And those guys are being recruited at other schools too. So we are in some definite recruiting battles. But I really like who we have so far. I think we're about, we're close to a lot of guys who could say yes in the the next week or so that could put us in great position. So we'll have more guys coming, and more guys will recruit more guys, and I feel very strongly by the time this team's put together, we're gonna have a chance to be a very good basketball team.
With all the changes happening, how are you going to be able to build like a brand new team for next year?
Well, we just did that at FDU. So they just had 10 months. We just kind of, so it helps to have done this thing. I got the job at FDU May 5th or 6th. So literally we got almost about a 6-week head start on that. And I didn't meet the guys at FDU. I mean, I knew most of them, obviously. I had met them. They hadn't met each other until July 5th. So we put the team together, start on July 5th. We'll have a whole month head start on that with a June 5th start for us here on summer school. So, yeah, I mean, I think you just do it by day, and your practice habits, your off the court habits. You have meals together. You spend time. You have them over the house all the time. We'll go bowling. We'll play softball. We'll do things that bring the team together. And a lot of it is them too. They'll spend time in the dorms and in the houses talking and getting to know each other and doing all those little things that make a team special. And so we've been through this before. I mean, I've had this is my, let me just count it. So Clarkson, Hamilton, St. Thomas. Actually, it's my 5th college job, right? Only Hamilton and Iona were jobs that were like really good jobs. They did one for a long time. Clarkson and Stack were tough jobs. So we had to rebuild the whole program. And FDU, Clarkson, Stack, and FDU they had lost a ton of games, had no tradition, had no culture. So we're used to, like, whatever the situation is, however tough it might be, we can put that team together and do it the right way. And we'll do it. And it's going to be our way. You know, it's just there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It'll be our way. We have a lot of faith in what we're doing, but it takes the right kind of guys to come with you too.
So last year, obviously, Iona had a great season and they lost to UConn, but many of those players, once Pitino left, they decided that they were going to enter the transfer portal. So what are your thoughts on them not staying here?
You know, you don't want guys here who don't want to be here, right? You want guys who want to be at Iona. I think Iona is a special place. I think there's an incredible campus community here, incredible feel here, environment here, where it's a great place to go to school as a student, as you guys know, right? And there's so many connections here as being a student athlete, being part of the student body, being in the. I mean, I'm at the pep band, the dance team, the people who are all the faculty has been great. The people who are the administration has been great. You know, the people who are my colleagues. Every coach has come by to say hello, to offer encouragement. It's a great place to go to school. Basketball is important at Iona. We've won for over a number of years. I think the last 10 games this year were sold out. So you're going to play in front of a sold. You know, we're going to keep that going. We're going to play in front of a sold out crowd in the biggest market in the whole country, in New York City market. The team has won. It's been the NCAA 6 the last 8 years. There's a lot to sell about Iona, and I think, you know, quite frankly, playing in our program, people like playing. We play fast. We play up and down. I'm not a control freak. I'm a let guys have freedom. Like you, and then that's not just me talking, because every coach says that. But you've watched us play at FDU this year on TV. Like, our guys played with great freedom. I mean, we were not afraid of anybody. We're gonna go do what we do. And I think it's some part to be special. To be part of that is very special. So if you choose not to be part of that, that's okay. That's fine. Like, best of luck where you go next. We'll find guys who want to be here for all those right reasons. So I wish those guys well. You know, what I'm proud of is the jobs I've left. Talk about the jobs I came into. I've also left jobs, FDU, at St. Thomas, and left the place in great shape. Like, left the place like people. We created a culture where guys wanted to, no matter who the head coach was, wanted to be part of things, wanted to be part of something special, want to keep that going. It's in the family. Obviously, that's not here right now. So that's not either here nor there. I can't control that. I'm proud of what we did at our other places, because we didn't leave and just, you know, I didn't leave and take the chairs and take the clipboards and take all that stuff. It was like we left a foundation in place to be special. The foundation here is not great with the team right now. We're going to build that foundation. We'll start from scratch, build a foundation the way we want to build it, and we'll get that in place and make it something special.
Could you walk us through like what the recruiting process has been like?
Well, I'm gonna have to reintroduce myself to my family hopefully in about 3 weeks. I'm not even sure what my kids look like anymore. So my wife said this morning, like, when are you gonna be home for dinner? I said, well, we got visits Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We got a dinner on Thursday, and I'm going recruiting Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I said, I'll see you next Monday. So I mean, it's just with the portal now, it's just nonstop. And the portal's good because there's more options for us. You know, there's 1,200, 1,300, 1,400 people in the portal right now. Now, we're not recruiting all 1,300, 1,400, but it feels like we're recruiting all 1,300 in the portal. But we are You know, you see guys you like. You know, you hear people you like. There's players that either played against or know someone or played in our conference or non-conference schedule that we know. So we reach out to them, right? Reach out to their coaches, and then we start watching videos. There's so much video available on Synergy so I'm watching video. My whole staff's watching video. We got a great staff, and we're just trying to find guys who fit into us. Then we start making calls. We call them. You call their coach. You call their parents. You call their anybody close to them, their advisors, people like that. Then you do Zoom calls. Zooms have been great. The only good part about COVID has been the increase in Zoom calls. So we now have, you know, a Zoom call every 45 minutes with a kid, his coach, parents. Good chance to get to know them a little bit, and then things go well there. They like us. They've been up for a visit. So we got a lot of guys on campus, and everyone has loved the campus. There's not one person who's not loved the campus, the tradition, the history, the success here, the people that are here. So that part's been great. So. Yeah, and then you wait. Then you got it's competitive, right? So like they're getting called by us and visiting us, but they're also visiting other good schools too. So it's and we're going head to head with some really good schools. And that's part of what it is. So we have to, at some point, be a little patient. You know, and I'm not a very patient person. So you guys kind of wait. And I'm looking at my phone right now. Hey, who's anybody call me? I'm waiting for a phone because one phone call. Hey, boom, this kid comes, and all of a sudden another kid comes, and you're in great shape. So it's a little bit of a hurry up and wait kind of thing. Get them on the visit, get them engaged, and then get them up here. And then a lot of guys will take 3 or 4 visits. So, you know, we like to get them up early. We like to be their first visit, and then we kind of got to wait and see what happens. So we put some pressure on them too, but the pressure, I want, like I just said, I want guys who want to be at Iona. So if that takes us a little bit longer, that's fine.
So you took over for the men's team, but on the women's side, the FDU coach for the women's team just became an Iona coach. So Could you talk about her and what are your thoughts on her?
I could not say enough good things about Ange. I mean, I really couldn't. So I mean, I met her 10 months ago. Yeah, I didn't know who Ange was. I had no idea. I knew a little bit about the success they'd had. She came to my press conference at FDU and she brought her whole staff and her players, and that impressed me a lot right there. Just that she was there for that, you know. And then we had offices right. We were in a suite. But she was right next to me. And so she likes chocolate. So we hit it off early on because I like chocolate too. And so she'd bring in some chocolate. I'd bring in some chocolate. She likes tangerines too. So we'd have tangerines. And we just talk basketball. We talk families. We had the same anniversary date. She got her anniversary is the same anniversary as my wife's and I. So we had that in common. And we just kind of hit it off. And she's also a very good coach. Like don't be mistaken. She's warm and fuzzy, but you get her on the court, she can be pretty tough too. Like her team will play defense. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country. They're going to guard people. They're going to practice. hard. I learned a lot watching her. Learned a lot just seeing her teams play, and she's just a great person. You know, just great to be around. And so yeah, when I got the job and then that job came open when Billy went to Xavier, and Billy was actually very good. She called me and we talked a few times before she left. But then when that happened, my whole family, my wife, my daughter, and Bryce were all like, we got to hire Ange. I'm like, well, just let the people who are in charge make that decision. But her success is tremendous, and she's done a great job, and she'll do an unbelievable job for Iona. And I'm happy to have her. Like it's great to have another colleague who I know and feel comfortable around. So we're happy to have her.
So late last week, we put out on our Instagram that we wanted to ask the people that follow us what questions they want to ask you. So we wanted to go to some fan questions. So the first one we have is from Matthew Mountain. Will you be coaching another small team, or are you hoping to have more bigs on the team?
Oh, we love to have more bigs. Yeah, we love. I mean, size is still important. So don't get me wrong. The plan at FT was not to be the smallest team in the country. We were hoping to be a little bit bigger. We actually had our two biggest guys didn't play at all. They were on the bench. They were seniors who were actually great kids and just didn't factor into our plans last year. So no, we'd love to have a bigger team. I like big guys who can move. So bigger that are mobile, that are athletic, that can step outside and play on our offense is important for us. You know, we signed a small guard. I'm not sure I could talk about him right now, but we signed another small guard who's really good. So once again, he's a great player. So I'm not as concerned about size, weight, things that to me, like I want good basketball players who have a high basketball IQ who compete like crazy and play tough as heck. But no, we want more size. We'd love to have more size. We'll recruit more size, and we'll definitely be bigger than we were last year, obviously. But we thought last year FDU was the first block in a rebuilding project to be good in 3 or 4 years. Just the pieces fit and worked out well. So, you know, got a little bit lucky there.
So this one comes from Trip Ballman. What are your overall thoughts on the transfer portal?
Yeah. So, for me, like I left FDU after 1 year, so I can't be critical of guys who go in the transfer portal and go after 1 year because I was at FDU and I loved FDU. I loved FDU. I thought it was a great place, great people, the whole thing. But the Iona job to me is just a major step up as far as competition-wise, resource-wise, support-wise. Just one of those. It's a career move where it's for my family, for me personally, for my staff. It's just a higher level job. So if you're in the transfer portal and you don't feel comfortable, if you're not happy, if you don't like the situation, now first of all, I think guys got to do a better job when they select a college. Like you don't want to be, you got to, what are the most important things, right? So there shouldn't be as many guys wanting to transfer because you should find a place you like at first by doing your research and doing a great job making your first decision. But if you're not at a place and you don't feel comfortable, happy, supported, academically it's not going well, socially it's not going well, and you want to go someplace else, I have no problem with that at all, right? What's happened, I think, a lot of the portal now is that people are just, they hear rumors about, well, this guy's getting, NIL's a big thing, right? They'll get more NIL money or this is happening. So, well, let's just go see what's out there. Let's just go test the waters and see if there's an opportunity to, who would recruit me again, right? Well, that's not the reason to go in the transfer portal. The transfer portal is to try to find a better situation for you, whether it's a big, if a guy wants to go play in the Big Ten, if you're playing at FDU and you want to go play on that stage, if you can play the Big Ten, like go to the Big Ten. I have no problem with that at all. That to me makes a lot of sense, right? But if you're at a place and you're having a good career and you're happy and the Big Ten's a stretch, you should stay where you're at. Like you look at, so I coached the Reese's All-Star team, right? This year the Final Four was the best seniors in college basketball. And the best players in that game were all mid-major players. The best player on our team was a kid from Furman, Jaden Slauson, a great player. We had 40 NBA scouts at our practice, and all the scouts were there to see the kid from Furman. Right? There's guys there from Nebraska, Wake Forest, from all these big schools, but also probably 10 or 12 mid-major schools that were there. And those guys were just interested in those guys, if not more so, because maybe they had more room to grow, more room to improve. So Damian Lillard's from Weber State, CJ McCollum's from Lehigh. You don't have to come from a major school, but what you have to do is have a great career. You have to have a great career. Like you have to go someplace and play, first of all, be on the floor, put up numbers, help your team win, have success, and that's going to lead to what you want down the road. Not just chasing around this dream of, hey, I want to go play in a higher conference. You go to a higher conference and you don't play, that's not helping you at all. You don't get better not playing. I don't care what you get better by being on the floor. You get better playing. Plus, it's more fun to play too. So, I don't think just chasing a dream or chasing something else is the best thing for guys. But like I said, I can each person's different, right? Each person has their own situation, and so it'd be wrong for me to say, well, it's all good or it's all bad. There's a little bit of both involved in everything. Like there's been some guys who have gone to the portal. I'm like, that's a good decision. Guys who've gone to the portal and moved up and had great careers. There's also a lot of guys who've gone to the portal who have not found a school or found a lesser school or found a lesser role, and that's not good. So, I've got a son. My son is going to be a senior next year, and we're doing a great job. I hope I am. My wife's doing probably a better job than I am. But making sure he when he chooses a college, what's the most important things for him? What's the most important thing? The fit. He's a runner. How's the running program? How much success they had? What's your major? Doing his homework. But if he comes to me after a year and he says, hey, I'm not happy here, and I'm looking for something else to go after, I have no problem with that at all. But if he's like, I just want to see what's out there, that's not a great decision, So fishing around, right, for a better, that's not the way to approach it, I don't think. So yeah, my fishing analogy right there, but just going out there going to some lake where there's no fish yet, you're wasting your time, right? So don't just go looking for something just because you hear your buddy got a better offer, your buddy's going to something else. That's not a good thing to do at all. Now when I was in college, I was always I was at Division III. I'm like, I could play Division I. I should have stayed at Division. I stayed where I could play. I had it. It was the best spot for me. It ended up working out. But every freshman and sophomore has visions of transferring. But sometimes the best place you can just be where you're at.
Now, you were just alluding to this, but it's a similar question. So Scott Quincy asks, have the transfer portal and the NIL ended the era of team building?
No, not at all. Totally disagree with that completely. I mean, how? Because we just did it. We took a bunch of guys at FDU, and I'm not sure I've been in and you guys saw us on TV. I'm not sure you've seen it. And we were winning, so it looks better. But we also had to go through a long season of adversity and things like that. And the guys were very together. So maybe the most together team I've had in 22 years of being a head coach. So we built that team in 10 months. So can it happen? Absolutely. Does it take more work? Yes, a lot more work. You know, the idea of, hey, all these guys will be together for the rest of the 4 years, and it's going to be a whole process of freshman to sophomore. It's not going to be this. We may have to do more things, you know. And sometimes it's not as much, you know, it's a little bit uncomfortable, you know, taking the guys and doing something as a team building process, like going, I don't know, you know, you go roller skating or ice skating or you know, things I'm not good at. You know, you got to do those things sometimes, like, you know, play golf. I'm the worst golfer. Maybe like there's things you can do as a team off the court that can help it. And then, listen, the on the court stuff, like, you know, there's a old idea that shared suffering brings the team together. Shared success and shared suffering, right? Well, shared success is pretty easy. You win, you're together. That part brings the team together. Shared suffering, when it's 6 a.m. in the morning, you're on the track in the middle of June. That's coming for our guys. Like, that stinks, and that sucks. Like, no one wants to be out there at 6 a.m. running, but that's shared suffering. Hey, we're all in this together. We're all doing it. We know it's not good at all. And that's the other things. Like, I'll be there. Like, there's not a day, hey, you're going to run at 6 a.m. and Coach Anderson's going to sleep in until 8. No. Coach Anderson will be there with. I'm not going to run. I mean, if you keep me running with the guys, that'd be a major problem. But we'll all be there together. We know it works, and we know how to build a team, and you find the right guys to do it. But no, I think the team building part is people are saying it's not possible. It's definitely possible.
Outside of basketball, Logan Bolson has this question: what is your favorite non-sport part of Iona? I love talking to you guys. Like I've had so many people who've come up to me, like it's a great campus vibe to it, a great campus feel to it. You know, I haven't, St. Thomas Aquinas, more of a commuter school. FDU, more of a commuter school. I love the fact that there's a great student body here that I think loves Iona. Like, I've been out there a couple times on the grassy knoll, the green over there. The parking lot used to be. People are throwing the football around. They're having all kinds of. There's music playing. Like, I love that vibe to it, that feel to it. So the campus feel just in general is an awesome feel. You know, and like, I love the fact that my office, I overlook the field. Like, I can watch soccer, lacrosse. There's been a million things going on that field the last 3 or 4 weeks, and so I love just walking out there and just sitting up there and watching. Plus, like, I can stay warm up there too. It's not too cold out. Eventually, I'll go outside, but like, it's just a great campus feel to it. It really is. While going to the cafeteria, and people are good people, you know. So yeah, I think that environment, that campus togetherness, the family environment, I love. And there's also good restaurants around here too, which I think that's good. That's important too. Good wings down there, a couple places around here. There's good spots to go to. So I've had a lot of people offer to take me down to the Beach Pond Tavern. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll wait till the summertime, and I'll be there at some point. Yeah.
There was a crazy wiffle ball game going on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I wish I was there.
I missed probably when I was at Wesleyan. I'm old enough now. I shouldn't tell my players this, but I missed a lot of classes. But we had a wiffle ball field in the back of our. We had a house. I was a senior. Like, you're a senior spring. You know, you're not doing as much work anyway. So I missed a lot of classes. It'd be like 2:20. And the class started at 2:30. We'd be in the middle of a wiffle ball game. Like, I'm just gonna skip class today. So we ended up playing wiffle ball. I missed a lot of classes my senior spring playing wiffle ball. So it brings back vivid memories of a good time. My family would not be too happy with me, but we were doing a lot in the springtime.
That's what, like, when they were playing wiffle ball, I had a night class, and I was like, do I go to the night class or do I go play wiffle ball? So
I can't tell you what to do either way, but I've done both.
So on to the next question. An anonymous person didn't want to be known, but are you planning to schedule a game against St. John's next season?
Oh, if they'd play us, I'd play them in a heartbeat. If they'd play us, we'd go play in a heartbeat. I'm waiting for the phone call. You know, I told Pat Wallace, who's in charge of scheduling for our staff. I said, let's go play St. John's at the Garden next year. That'd be great, right? Mm-hmm. So if they play us, we'll play them in a heartbeat. Yep. And I think we reached out a little bit too. I'm not sure what their plans are, but yeah, that'd be great. Love to. Let's play them every year. Play them every. It would be great. I'm not sure how much you know, but we beat St. John's when I was at St. Thomas Aquinas Division II. We actually, Chris Mullen's first game, we beat him by 30. The last time I played St. John's, I had a lot of success. So I would not be. It'd be a great game for the metropolitan area. Like, we're trying to bring back basketball to New York City. The better all the teams are, the better St. John's is, the better we are. The better Fordham had a good year last year. The better that's going to help the whole the area. So yeah, I'd love to. That'd be a great game.
And then the last one is from Wes Smith. How do you balance family life with coaching?
That's a great question, right? Because that's what always gets lost sometimes in the shuffle. So I think my wife could attest to this. I think I do a very good job of that. I make a definite to make sure I'm around as much as possible. My son's a cross country runner, so I don't think I missed a meet in the fall. Like I was there for I'd plan our practice around that to make sure I watched his meets. I was there. My daughter's a dancer. I've actually missed a couple of her dance competitions the last 2 weekends because I've been so busy recruiting. But I try to be around as much as possible. We go on vacation. We spend time together. I don't play golf. I'm not like my hobbies. Like I fish, right? But I'm not. If I'm not here, if I'm not working, if I'm not doing something basketball related, I'm going to be with my family doing something. Whether that's we got a dog now, so we got this dog. I was not in favor of the dog, but it was during COVID, so I'm like, we got this dog, so the dog's out of her mind. But so we'll take the dog to the dog park. We do a lot of things together as a family. So I'm a very big family guy. My dad was that way too. Whenever I do something, I include my if you saw the games, my son, my daughter were at on the floor for the celebrations. They're in the locker room for the celebrations. They're around all the time. So I involve them. They'll go on bus trips. They'll go with us all the time. So I make sure I involve them. My wife's a huge, she comes to all the games. She's funny because she can't watch into games. She has to go in the tunnel or behind things because she gets too nervous or she puts her head down. I say, well, you're missing the best part, So she misses the most exciting part she can't watch. So they're all very involved. They're all part of the whole thing. My dad was great to me when I was growing up as far as having me be part of his team. My heroes were his high school players, and so I want to make sure that my family's part of my job and my journey too. My son loves the schedule. All he cares about is the schedule, right? And he just wants to know who we're playing. That's all. He's harassing me nonstop. I said, Bryce, we gotta get some players first, and we'll start about scheduling. But yeah, they're a big part of things.
When I interviewed you at the introductory press conference, you were speaking on how your dad told you to surround yourself with good people and nice people. How did you know Iona was the place for you?
Well, I had a chance to meet Matt Glowowski, the AD, and Seamus Carey, Dr. Carey. The last time the job was open, we had lunch. Actually, it was the day that Iona shut down for COVID. So, and they were just great people, honest people. And I knew at the time it was me and Coach Pitino, and I thought, you get a chance to hire him, they're probably going to go in that direction. But I got a great feel for those two people who are the administration. And I like Brian Byer. I've known Brian for a long time. Just being around. You see people and what kind of quality people they are. So yeah, I just meeting Seamus, meeting Matt, having a good feel for them. We've always stayed in contact. Matt had lunch with me a couple years ago. We talked about some things, and Dr. Carey's been constantly in contact about texting me, watching games, and so I got a great feel for those people. And then I know when you're around those, they're in charge here. The people they'll surround themselves will be good people too. So that's how it's been. I mean, I cannot tell you how welcoming and how comfortable I've been made to feel here at Iona so far. It's been great. Now obviously we lose 2 games in a row. Maybe that tune will change next year. Maybe they'll be mad at me or whatever. But we'll do our best not to let that happen. But no, it's been great. I feel comfortable. I feel at home. And that's not just me. I mean, I'm a small college guy. I came from a small Division III, Division II background. So I'm not a guy who's jumping ship. If I'm here for a long time, I'd love to be here for a long time and make this place home. And I couldn't be happier.
How do you take into account that advice and put it to the new recruits that you could be getting?
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, you want recruits to be part of a family, right? Your staff's got to be great. So, I mean, I love our staff. I wouldn't trade our staff for any staff in the country. I mean, there's some staffs out there, the guys are making, millions of dollars, whatever it is. Our staff is well paid. I mean, they're taken care of. But it's I would not trade. Tom Bonican and Cam Morrell have been with me now Cam played for me for 2 years. Tom's by his 5th year with me. I mean, I just those guys are they know our system. They know how we want to recruit. They know the kind of players. So they're great people. They're part of my family too. Ray Savage came with me from FDU as our DBO. We just hired Pat Wallace. I've known Pat for a long time, and Luke Testani's our video guy. We're gonna hire a few more guys around them as well. But the staff's like a family, and so I'm surrounded by good people. I want the players to know they'll be surrounded by good people, and they'll be surrounded by other great players who are also high character, competitive, tough guys who are fun to be around. So it's gonna listen. It takes time sometimes. We're trying to do something. This kind of recruiting is unheard of. Replacing 12 new guys is just different, So we can do a really good job of this, but it's different. So we're having to. But I think once we get past this recruiting, once we get this thing in place and we get the right kind of guys, it's only going to get better and better and better as our culture gets better and stronger. The foundation's laid and we're ready to go. So the best days are definitely ahead of us. And I'm looking forward to it.
What is some advice you have for someone who wants to be involved in coaching basketball?
Good question, right? It's hard. Coaching basketball, especially at the college level, is not easy. because it's a lot of, like, my first job at Clarkson paid I think $3,500, and I had a meal card, so I could eat for free on campus, which is great. At that time, you're 23 years old, like, free meals is a great thing, right? So $3,500. I lived in a dorm. I was living in a dorm room. Then I go to Lemoyne Division II school, and I take a pay cut to go to Division II. I make $3,000. I think I still had a meal card, but those are, you're making no money, right? So, like, I went to Wesleyan, really good school, very expensive school. I had student loans. They would send me the student loan payments, and I would throw the payments in the trash can. I said, I can't pay. I wasn't mature enough or old enough to understand. I had to pay the loans right. I couldn't. I'm making $3,000 a year, so I had to go through 3 years of that, $3,000, $3,500, $3,500, $3,000, $3,000 to get to a head job at Clarkson as a Division III head coach. And even then, that's not so you start at a certain level, and you have to work hard, and you got to be a great person, got to do all the right things, be willing to do anything. That's my head coach at Clarkson. Whenever we went on the road recruiting, he always wanted an iced tea, and he wanted almonds. So every time I would go pick him up to go recruiting, I had to make sure there's an iced tea. It was an ST unsweetened iced tea and almonds in the passenger side for him to eat. Now, that's a pain, right? But it's like, what? You got to do it. That's part. You got to be willing to do anything. Work so hard, do all the right things, meet the right people, get out of your comfort level, get out of your comfort zone. I had to go do things I didn't. I was working for the 5-star camp. Same thing. Living in a dorm, sleeping in a dorm room for 6 weeks of the summer, eating terrible food, being in Pittsburgh. It was like 100 degrees outside from like 6 a.m. till midnight, and that's not exaggeration. People know 5-star. No, you work all the time. I did that knowing that down the road it'd make me a better coach, meet more people, have more contacts. Like a lot of guys I recruit, their coaches come from the 5-star basketball camps. I made some great relationships there, and just great friends too. So you got to be willing to do anything, anywhere, anytime, and get better every day at what you do.
So the final question we have for you, what do you want to achieve at Iona?
Well, I want to build a program, right? Like I talked about, I want to build a great program, not just a team. And my dad told me that when I was at Clarkson, maybe even Hamilton. I think it's more Hamilton, because at Hamilton we were taking over for Tom Murphy, who was a great coach, won 602 games. So you're taking over a team and a program. You can't just build a team. I want to build a program that sustains success, right? So you have a chance to be good every year. And so that takes commitment all the way through from the top down, players who believe in that too as well. Great players. I want guys who do the right things off the court, go to class, say please, say thank you, are great people on campus here at Iona, represent our athletic department in the best possible way. And then on the nights we're in Himes, or the nights we're on the road, or we're playing in Atlantic City or wherever, they just compete their tails. They play so hard, play so tough, so together, play a fun style of basketball, compete every day, every night. And if you do all those things, good person on the court, take care of business in practice, in the weight room, work really hard, outwork people. If you do that every day, you're going to win plenty of games. And so, listen, it's a winning losing. I'm not a guy who does not value winning. Winning's much more fun than losing. So, the wings taste better, the beer tastes better when you're winning games. So, we want to win as many games as possible. So we want to win championships. We want to continue to win MAC championships, cut down nets, put up banners, go to the NCAA tournament. Like I said, then I think the next thing is, can we take this program to the round of 32, the round of 16 in the NCAA tournament? People would have thought at FDU it would take us 25 years to get the NCAA tournament. We did it in 1 year. Went to round of 32, beat Purdue. So it can be done. At St. Thomas Aquinas, they were 5-25, and we won 21 games our second year. NCAA's for the next 7 years in a row, 25. So we've done it before. It's not easy. It's hard. But we built programs like FDU in 10 months. We built a program at St. Thomas Aquinas in 9 years. Build a program. Let's do the same thing here. Build a championship program with the right kind of people and do it the right way and sustain success and have a lot of fun doing it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Coach Anderson, for joining us on our season finale of the Athletes Roundtable. We will not be back next week because it's the season finale, but we will be back next year. So thank you so much to all of our listeners all season long. As always, this is Jordan and Ryan signing off.